Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 9th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. Could we first please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First, we have correspondence. We have one that we received just recently. Anything that the board wants to discuss right now?
No.
It seems rather odd that they intentionally put it on the ground floor rather than comply with their approvals.
Yeah, it's been going on for a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's more to be discussed with that, though.
That's,
Here, yeah.
Yes.
All right, next we have the meeting minutes of May 19th, 2025. Any corrections, additions, alterations?
No.
No.
John, we good?
we're good, yes, thank you.
Counselor?
All good.
Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 19th, 2025?
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll go on to the regular portion of our meeting. First up, we have Atlantic Appliance. This is a request for a second one-year time extension. Locations 2010 Maple Hill Street.
Good evening, Joseph Reen, the Principal Site Design Consultants representing Atlantic Appliance. They're currently working on, with their contractor and setting up scheduling to move forward with the foundation installation and working out some details for the pocket wetland in the back, because that basically has to go in first. So I'm hoping that that starts anytime soon.
Any issues from the board?
None.
John?
Joe, can you explain that you've already begun clearing so forth, and under what aegis that you did that?
Right, so they they began that process thinking they were going to immediately start construction. The financing hit a snafu. They have now been able to get past that hurdle and are ready to move forward and proceed.
I don't recall, did the board give a permit to do the clearing?
They had a building permit, yeah, and well, we had site plan approval.
Okay, but you don't have a signed site plan?
Yes, we
They
do.
do, okay.
Yeah.
You have a signed site plan, I don't know that you need the, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it just in just in case.
Okay, that explains, all right,
that, I just thought it
Yeah, I
would
was
be
just-
better to be safe than sorry.
okay. Didn't understand that.
Okay.
Good?
Good.
Counselor?
Nothing from council.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the request for a second one-year time extension for Atlantic Appliance?
Motion. Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next we have the Gardenia Hotel. This is a request for a second one-year time extension. Locations 1952 Commerce Street.
Good evening, Joseph Reen, the Principal Site Design Consultants representing Gardena Hotel. The property owner is currently not in a position to start the project, so he is requesting that his approval get extended. Nothing has changed otherwise at the site.
No problem. No question.
John?
Nothing here.
Counselor?
Nothing here.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the request for a second one-year time extension for the Gardenia Hotel?
Motion. Second?
All those in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, next we have a public hearing. This is for Curry Honda Solar. This was from last time, right, Robin? Yes. Okay. We have someone here, all right. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
How you doing?
Just fine. My name is Mason Ellis. I'm with Freedom Solar Power.
my first time, so
Enjoy.
so I was handed this when I got here, the draft resolution. My understanding is that here to just present, this is a project you guys have seen before, and we were waiting to get out of the solar moratorium. That's since been lifted, and at this point, we're needing to get the project permitted. You should all have paper copies of the plans, which I see you have there in front of you.
This is more for the public, so
Okay.
the project is roof mounted,
Yes, sir.
nothing on the ground.
Correct.
This has nothing to do with the other project going on, so this is just, above grade roof mounted solar project.
That is correct.
We've seen this quite a few times.
Sure.
Does the board have any questions on this?
No questions.
Straightforward
None.
thing. This is a public hearing, so anybody from the public want to speak to the Curry Honda Solar? Joe, did you raise your hand? No? All right. John, anything on your end?
Nothing on this end.
Counselor?
Nothing from council.
All right, it's a very straightforward application. I think this is the type of solar that we're
Absolutely.
looking forward to seeing moving forward.
Yep. Told you, have fun. Approval.
Any objections to closing the public hearing?
None.
Do I have a
No.
motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
That's it.
easy
Good.
one.
Great. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
What's that? Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Ah, Don't go away yet.
There we go.
Okay.
The end of fun.
I'm glad someone knows what they're doing.
No, yes, and I should have asked you, you looked at the resolution.
Yes.
Okay, in front of us, well, first, do we have to declare lead on this one, Robin?
Yeah,
Okay. Do I have a motion to declare lead agency?
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And in front of us, we have a resolution approving a special use permit for a large-scale solar power generation system. What? Yeah, it says at the Staples Plaza.
Where's Nancy?
Could I just change that to Curry Honda?
Yeah, mine says Lowe's. That's what I was confused about this. It says the roof of Lowe's.
That is another project. That's not this one.
I do see on the second page, be it now resolved, it does have Curry Honda Yorktown listed.
Yeah, I think
there.
it's just the title.
Yeah.
Let's just make sure.
I have one question. The solar isn't proposed on top of this, is it? It's just the main building,
Building.
correct?
Building,
It's the building, it's all
It's the layout here.
Yeah,
We went, before you were on board, we went and did a site walk and we looked
Yeah.
at the surrounding
that's what I
properties.
thought.
And I think even the board is, this is the type of solar they're looking for.
Exactly what we're looking for.
Right.
At least, well, I'll speak for myself.
Right.
Exactly what I'm looking for. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
A few people that live behind Curry, they use ham radios. I don't know, and it just came up that this different types of installations may or may not interfere with shortwave radios. Do you know anything about that?
Unless they're photovoltaic waves, then no.
Okay. I'll let them know.
Sure.
That's the first I heard of that.
Yeah, I say, listen, I get a lot of requests, you know.
I can imagine.
Everybody has different interests, you know.
Of course.
We good?
Yeah, it's just the title and a word in the first paragraph.
What about the,
What's the first word, the word?
Robin, what about the PIA? Can we waive it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's no PIA, special permit. It says that we waive. Take it out. It's a special permit.
Yep.
Doesn't need a PIH, so the section that says we waived it, you can delete that, please.
Okay. And the title we just changed? I'm looking where it is.
Is that May 16th date for the issuance of a building permit, the date that you want in this resolution? That's already passed.
I believe this resolution might have been originally drafted on May 16th. We had a representative from
Okay.
our subcontractor that apparently showed up late, so that's why.
They
I'm
were
here.
here.
Yeah.
Make it June 9th.
Yeah.
No.
So make it June 9th? So other than the alterations we just discussed,
I have no problem with it.
You have the title, you have the change in the first paragraph from Lowe's to Curry.
yep,
You're striking the PIH, and you're changing the expiration date to June 9th, 2026.
2026. Everybody all right with that?
Fine.
Fine,
Good
no
with that?
problem.
Yes, I do not have any other edits or suggestions.
All right, so other than the edits just outlined, do I have a motion to approve the special use permit for a large-scale solar power generation system at Curry Honda?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Let me just put that up. Now you're all set.
Okay. All right.
You got it.
And then, just a quick question, submit the required fee of $625,
You're gonna wanna see Robin.
does that need to be paid now? Destiny Garcia, okay, perfect. Okay, is that all for me?
That's it, you're all set.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Pay it again. Pay it again. Pay it again.
Those are cochlear ear implants. He's got those like my mother-in-law has them. It's 100%. You better 100%.
Okay, we're gonna move into the work session portion of the meeting. First on the agenda, we have a town board referral. This is 1552 Payne Street. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pat Costabile from Steve Costa Engineering. How you doing? So I believe we
square with the
submitted the variance.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the variance was in 2001,
okay.
so it's been there for quite a while, so we did not have that information at the last meeting.
And that runs with the property, right?
Yep.
So no expiration. All right, so last time they were with us, we're unclear about the ZBA. They clearly have the approval back to June 28th, 2021. This is for the request for a stormwater management permit. So they're clear on the zoning. Is Dan Ciarcia here? He is not. I think he was here last time, and I believe there's no issues with this, right?
Now, there was a question, I think, about the three-bay garage barn-type building on the adjacent lot, Which-
Who was in ownership of that?
which apparently is owned by the same owner?
No,
No, it's not?
no. In the family, but not the same owner, not the same person.
That's right up against the property line.
Do you know if that particular building complies with all setbacks?
The old building,
The old building?
does it have to, is it part of this situation? It's not
Yeah,
part
I
of
know
this
it's not
application?
part of the application. It seems to be very large.
Actually, it's very deceiving, because when you look at that back piece of lot, there's an extended piece that's part of the property that goes past that area. So there's 25 feet of distance off of that side, which complies.
But what's the side yard setback from where the proposed building would be?
From the new
Yeah,
building, I believe that's 10 feet. We have that on there, don't we?
The existing barn? Looks like 9.7 feet.
Yeah, it's almost 10 feet.
Yeah.
And that's the side we're putting the garage on, so it's further away on that side.
Yeah, the proposed one-story is 28 feet off the property line. The existing barn on the neighboring property is 9.7.
Dan's here, Rich.
Hi, Dan. We all set with the review on this one? Any issues?
We did a preliminary review of the application, so we'll be sending our comments to the town board.
Okay.
But otherwise, there's really no issue with this, yeah.
All right, so we got a ZBA variance for the building and the lot size. We got an existing barn next door that's not in the same ownership. Any issues? Dan CRC's got some comments to go to the board.
None.
Anything? Anything here on John?
We have nothing further.
Counselor?
Nothing from council.
Okay, so we'll get a letter to the ZBA in favor of the application for 1552 Main Street.
Will do.
That's it.
Thank
All
you.
set. Good
Thank
luck.
you. Have a good
Thank you
evening.
for the clarity on the ZBA.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the Yorktown Heights Fire District. This is a project presentation. Location's 1916 Commerce Street. Counselor?
Good evening. Good evening to the board, to the town staff. Mark Blanchard here from the Blanchard Law Group, representing the Yorktown Heights Fire District. We are here tonight to just provide an initial informal presentation to the board, to provide some information relating to a replacement in kind of the main fire headquarters over on Commerce Street. Due to the fire district's unique status under state law, they will be acting as lead agency, but the planning board the town has some approvals, ancillary approvals, so we're here as you're an involved agency. We're here to provide in your work session an informal presentation as we're getting started in the process. We're pretty far along with our plans, but we're not final yet, as you'll see. We will have a formal submission back to you in the very near future, but tonight's for informational purposes to give the board an idea of where we are and where we are going. So with that, I'll introduce Fire Commissioner Martin McGannon. He's a member of the Board of Commissioners for the district, and he will start the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening. Martin McGannon. I have the chief of the district, also Dave Klaus, commissioner, and Joe Rena, which is our site engineer, and Peter Helms here is our architect. And as soon as we can get the presentation up, they will show you what we're looking to plan to do. I think you'll be very happy with it. I'll come over and do it.
Oh, yeah. I know. I've been there.
Every time he does barbecue, surround up on
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Apologize.
That's all right.
It's okay.
I was just telling him that he's the best barbecuer going. Every time we have a we have a party. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, he knows it. It's like bone falling off the bone. Terrific.
was everybody's weekend then? Computer, please. No, I can't. I know somebody who can.
Mark Blanchard?
No.
No?
That's my 11-year-old. No.
Enter a host name or address.
The address is meeting.
Yeah, we've got it. We're in Creston.
Downloaded Creston.
Thank you.
Technology makes our lives easier.
No one
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, when it works.
Yeah. Tell my wife that.
All right. With that, I'll, Dave.
Well, step off to the side, I guess. That's not gonna work out so well. Okay. Well, then I have to lean over to, oh. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm getting all the pop-ups. Oh, boy. Okay, good evening. As we were introduced earlier, I'm one of the commissioners on the Board of Fire Commissioners. Good evening, everybody. I was having some flashbacks getting back into here. But that being said, so we're here to discuss the Yorktown, our plans for a new Station 1, I guess, to replace the existing firehouse. So this is just a quick rendering. Here's the site plan showing the, I'm getting confused looking at two different things, sorry. The existing firehouse as it relates to Commerce Street, the existing property. We'll talk, I guess, more of this. Do you want to talk about this now or just
Go through it and then we'll come back.
Okay. So what we're proposing is basically removal of the existing firehouse and construction of a new firehouse. We've looked at a lot of different options of doing additions, trying to expand the firehouse. Expansion was very, very difficult. So then we started to move into the area of putting an addition on the firehouse. And it became difficult because, for several reasons, but it was also cost prohibitive because of the modifications we're gonna have to do to the building to bring it up to code. The building was built in started construction 49, opened up in either 50 or 51 as a fire station. So there was a lot of work that was gonna have to be done just in that regard. The addition, if you look at the site plan, would be to the left of the building, attached to the building, but to the left. Then it became an issue of how the fire apparatus would be entering and exiting. It would take up a lot of the parking next to almost all the parking next to the firehouse. The entrance to the property on the right-hand side of the firehouse would then be the only entrance. We would no longer have two entrances onto the property. So here's a picture of the existing firehouse from Commerce Street as you're driving up to it. And then this is a rendering of the proposed new firehouse. So the new firehouse will be 3 stories tall. It'll still have 4 bays. The bays will be significantly larger than they are now. Current fire apparatus, new fire apparatus, physically will not fit in this firehouse. The ladder truck we have it's a model that was built, a low-profile model that is no longer being built. And even just the engines, and Martin and the chief can speak to this, just physically will not fit in the firehouse anymore. At one point, we'll do a presentation that has other photos of it, but it is snug in there. So this is the rendering from the front, and then from the side, looking at it a little bit down from Commerce Street, probably more from the Catallo building.
That's how it'll present from the side. This is currently the back of the building. Right now, we're storing some fire apparatus in the back under the Quonset hut. There's a barn also back there, a 3-bay barn that we don't really keep much, we don't put apparatus really in there, but other equipment and stuff is stored in there. And that will be coming down with the project. And then this is the proposal from the back. Because of the elevations of the property, actually the architect and the engineers were able to get 3 bays on the lower section behind the building, but they're smaller bays. But what we're looking to put in there primarily are utilities.
All the stuff that you'll see outside.
Outside, yeah. Will now be held inside. The main, not the main entrance, but the entrance in the back really is the public entrance to the building at that point. The front entrance is primarily for firefighters. So there'll be a staircase and then an elevator to get you onto the, up onto the other floors. There'll be 3 floors all total. And really, that's pretty much it. This is just a quick shot of what the firehouse looks like now with the apparatus typically that's stationed in there, and that can vary, not quite day to day, but it can vary. And then this was just to give you a quick glimpse in the second bay from the right. As you're facing it, that's a 1934 Maxim, which was actually a piece of apparatus that was in use at the time when the firehouse was designed and then built. So you can see the difference in size. And in a comparison, the Maxim's probably a little bit bigger than a Chevy Suburban, really. So you can see it's, width-wise, it's very snug. That's just a close-up. And then this is sort of a shot across the bow, if you will. I didn't realize that was a video. Who knew? Yeah, and that's that.
We'll go back to the site plan.
Sure.
For the, I should say site plan.
Do you want the existing or the proposed? Okay.
Joe Rena discussed different.
So this is the existing site plan, right? So, I did something.
Up arrow, back.
Okay. The existing outline of the firehouse is that heavy, thick, heavy line. I'm trying to, I don't want to.
Oh, would you rather use the
Yeah,
mouse?
this thick, heavy line around here, that's the existing firehouse. You'll see parking to the west side of that, and no parking to the rear. And as there's an access road that goes out the back. There's an access road that goes out the back side here.
Oh, wait, I'm gonna have to plug your seat back.
Okay. This is the barn structure that's gonna be coming out that Dave was speaking about. Then there's an access drive that goes out to veterans, out the backside here. And this is, as most familiar to everyone, this is the open area use at the fairground. So with the proposed site plan, the orange shaded block is the new firehouse, and you can see how it overlays over the existing firehouse. Maintaining parking on the west side, and gaining parking in the rear. As you can see, that barn that we talked about has been removed. And so now there's additional parking, which it was sort of a lack of in the existing condition. The current access drive on the right side of the building, that is going to remain. It currently runs into the trailway right-of-way, the DOT right-of-way, but there's a current license agreement in place for that. And there's some parking you can see also to the back there, this parking here, which partially is under license agreement, but that's gonna be expanded, and we're already in discussions we're gonna be in discussions with the DOT on that. From a stormwater perspective, this is gonna be a redevelopment project. We've already scheduled with the DEP to go out there and do the mandatory investigation, soil investigation with them. which is occurring next week. The, other than that, the existing utilities are going to be continue to be used as far as sewer, water, services to the building. Of course, the electric service is going to be upgraded as needed to power the new firehouse. Any questions?
I just have one. You anticipate the bays will remain the same size,
No.
or they'll be bigger? Okay.
The bays, the existing base right now is just slightly over 124 and a half inches. These doors will be, that one of the reasons why you see such a height, they're 14 by 14 doors, which is a requirement for any.
To accommodate updated equipment and all?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're gonna be wider and taller.
14 by 14.
The existing shot, there was tight quarters. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier to knock down to deal with the old
Of course.
construction. It's cheaper to build new. It's a reality.
Exactly.
Any questions at this time?
Just so we chose this, Peter, if you want, why we went with this type of design, I think it fits the
It's a beautiful looking building.
the end of the, kind of, yeah, the, I call it the sixth grade school, sorry, gentlemen. The Community center, so it kind of puts a nice setting at the end of Commerce Street or at that intersection.
You really get a, every time you go down the road, you get a shot of it.
So,
Good evening, Peter Helms with the Helms Group Architects. Yeah, the building that we looked at, as Martin and David mentioned, we looked at additions and alterations, and the existing building is completely obsolete for today's fire apparatus, the sizes and the heights and so forth needed. And what we ended up figuring out was that doing new, if they could get away with certain time period, we're figuring about 18 months to complete the whole project for construction. And we have alternate methods for temporary protection and so forth. We wanted to create something that would be more of a traditional historic look that would be timeless, you know, which is something that years to come it'll always fit in. And because of the three-story element, although it's three-story, when you approach it from the front, it really reads as more of a two-story, because you're not going to see the setback. We set back the small portion of the third floor quite a bit, and we've got the screen on the top with the parapets for mechanical equipment, so we don't want to see any mechanical equipment from the street, yet we have access to service the equipment on the roof. And again, all the firematic operations will take place on the front, which they have immediate access out to the street, which is pretty much centered on the main intersection, which is what we were trying to do. And we gave the public a little bit more of a prominent entrance in the back where they're off of the carnival grounds, and there's a very defined public entrance on the rear elevation there. And maintenance-free materials, it would be a non-combustible type 2B building according to New York State code. It'll be fully sprinklered for fire protection. It will have the latest energy code, and it will actually exceed the minimum energy code requirements. We have provisions for solar photovoltaic panels on the roof. All of the electric, plumbing, and HVAC systems will be state-of-the-art, energy compliant, and the efficiencies with water-saving devices and automatic light activation, LED fixtures, things of that nature, not to mention providing full ADA handicapped accessibility throughout the entire building with a stretcher sized elevator, which will serve all levels, handicap accessible restrooms and so forth. So basically a state-of-the-art
timeless exterior.
If I could, where are you gonna be housed when this is going on? Where are you gonna keep your equipment and?
We were in the process of looking into temporary facility right behind it. on
You
the
can
back
keep
side.
it in my house.
Even one on the
Where
barbecue.
you live, so I can, I'm right around the corner.
There's a lot of room in the rear. There's also an existing barn that's coming down as part of the project, so.
Yeah.
Under secret as part of like a mitigation, almost like a construction schedule type of
Right.
impact. They'll be looking at alternatives for housing the apparatus.
Yeah, there's actually temporary provisions. We've done this for Katana Firehouse when we were doing their firehouse several years ago. Up here, if you can see that, this isn't moving too.
On the green
there you go.
area.
Right up here, that rectangular building.
Yeah.
Has 3 bays. It's a temporary structure. You rent the structures from the same outfit. We'll get a couple prices for it, but it provides temporary structure. It's a temporary floor system that's down, meant for apparatus. It's also got its own HVAC air handling unit to provide heating. It's going to have temporary electric for power and lighting. And basically, it will facilitate their needs in an interim basis with the other facility, Loxley.
During
and so forth.
construction.
During construction.
And you said 18 months.
18 months. Yeah.
From tearing it down to building it.
It's much quicker to do new, like you said.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Chairman. I mean,
No
it's,
question about it.
It start perfectly square, and we're having the soil borings are being completed today and tomorrow, so we can design the foundation system for the soil bearing capacity that's available, and everything brand new, square, coming up from the bottom up, as opposed to reworking an existing and finding unforeseen conditions and things that can generate cost overruns and so forth. So we feel that the new building, same place.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we're finding a new property that we have to go, you know, with the neighbors and so forth, putting a fire station in their backyard. I mean, that's the plus that we have with this location, so.
Everybody's used to you being there.
Exactly.
Right.
Are the bays longer too? A little bit longer?
As you see, the existing firehouse is the blacked out square, a rectangle that's in the orange. So those bays will actually be 70 feet deep.
Because I remember you guys pulling the
They
apparatus.
hit the wall.
You had to hit the wall.
They actually hit the wall.
Yeah, I remember that.
So,
That's great.
The new building,
really need it.
I'm sorry, go.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Are you changing the functionality of any part of the building? Are you adding something new to the facility that you are in need of or haven't just had?
oh, it'll be modern and up to date for the technology that's needed for the fire service today. From anywhere from gear cleaning to decontamination areas to classrooms. And then ADA compliant.
But from purpose, it's classroom training apparatus. It's, the purpose is exactly the same.
Yep.
Can I?
So
Beautiful-
so
beautiful
we
looking
have,
building.
we have more to follow, more formally to be submitted, but we wanted to get out in front of it and give you some information this evening.
Could you? I'm sorry, Judy?
Oh, I just said good job.
Oh.
Thank you. Well,
I just thought maybe it'd be good if you go through what the secret process will be, what the involvement of the town will be, to the extent that you have to comply with our zoning regulations, if at all. I'm asking specifically about the height, but, you know, anything in our zoning code, so just how this process will work.
Sure. So, the process is would be a little unique for the board. You're adopting a role that you're not used to in terms of, normally everything funnels through the board. Here, you're going to be receiving information, much like you send out referrals, like, for example, to Westchester County Planning. You'll be receiving information from us. We will need, for example, we talked about earlier, we're going to need an approval for a curb cut, we believe, at some point. So there will be some Yorktown Planning Board involvement, but the secret process will follow, just like it does in the statute under a normal circumstance, but the fire district is able to act as its own lead agency. There's going to be a financing part of this. As you know, the fire district is its own taxing district. There'll be some borrowing, bonding related to that. So our secret process is going to also satisfy the bonding process. Bond, that will occur later, that'll occur second. We are doing an EAF. We're not doing an EIS, we're doing an EAF with the studies. We're doing a traffic study, a visual impact study. We're doing, of course, the stormwater, DEP compliance. All this information will be provided to you. So it's very much, we're not, we're following the secret process much like this board is used to, but your position's a little unique as if you're more of you're the involved agency, not the lead agency. We're initially showing compliance. So it's a double-edged sword. The district itself is exempt from municipal zoning, but we believe that we are in compliance with the zoning in our height in that district, but we'll show that to you. We'll have the formal zoning table on the plans that we submit to you.
So you don't have to comply with our height restriction?
Technically, no, we do not. We do not. But we are also not looking to sort of run roughshod over, the neighborhood. We're being very sensitive to what the neighborhood is. Obviously, you can see the building's going to be bigger, but we're still trying to fit in to the neighborhood.
So the planning board, in this case, will not have any approvals to do?
Correct.
Right, we'll just be advising you from their own experience.
Correct.
About the site plan.
Correct. And but we will be looking for your referral, your recommendations back to us formally in writing. Right. That's what I'm saying. It is a little bit of a unique situation, but we want to work, look, obviously the district's a part of the community.
So when do you think you're going to kick off the secret process?
Well, we in April, the board declared and disseminated its intent to be lead agency, although I think that there's been a problem with the dissemination because we're not getting anything back yet. I may repeat that mailing of the notice of intent to be lead agency, but so we have kicked that off. I may have to correct the mailing because we're not getting anything
I don't
yet.
recall that we got it.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, the county didn't see it. So we may I may do that again, but essentially we're off and running, and we'll have a plan back to you once we have a formal finalized plan. But we're pretty much substantially completed. As you heard, we're finishing borings today. That'll impact what our final plan will be. But what you're looking at today is essentially what we have.
So, but you're going to correct the intent distribution?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. If no one's getting back, so I think there might have been a problem with the mailing. So I would correct that. But
are you going to hold a public hearing? I suspect
we would. Yes.
At the firehouse.
At the firehouse. Yes. That'll be noticed as per open meeting law requirements. Yes.
Similar to a school.
Exactly. Right. Same exact entity. Same exact run. Very similar.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure you guys did a needs assessment of the department. Obviously, things have changed since the time the building was put up.
Well, what's interesting is the projected apparatus as it's coming off won't even fit. Like now, this things you see how tight it is. Yeah. The newer models won't even fit in the building. So
change in day.
Yeah, I mean it's a change. I mean they did look at perhaps an addition, but then like Mr. Klaus said earlier, upgrading the existing building even to match the addition is cost prohibitive and doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you got to tear down.
It's easier to tear down and rebuild, honestly. So more to follow, but we're glad to be here tonight. We thank you for your input, and we're excited to get started. We'll also be in front of the town board too. We'll be doing a presentation to the town board.
Okay.
Right.
And thank you all for your service. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Commissioner, good to see you. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
I wonder if they have a estimated cost of the building.
I'm sure. I'm sure they
10, 15 million.
Peter Adams, excellent architect.
Yeah, you know it.
He's just an excellent architect.
You know it.
All right, next up we have the Lamp subdivision. This is a discussion of a minor subdivision, location 357 Crow Hill Road.
Good evening, Jody Cross from Zarin and Steinmetz here on behalf of Mr. Lamp. He apologizes he couldn't be here today. He's actually out in California. His father passed away.
Oh, sorry.
So just to report back to you, we were before the ZBA on May 22nd. We were unanimously granted our variances for frontage and under 280A. So here we are back to you. I know their minutes haven't been adopted yet, but we did get the vote. So we're here to request a public hearing to be set on the subdivision application for June 30th. And I know that there's another application that the the owner submitted to do work on his property. And there was discussion back and forth. At first, we thought it was an administrative permit. I'm first coming up to speed on this now, and we're being told it's a non-administrative permit. This is to do work on his existing house. He wants to upgrade the septic and add a garage. I know that I had some discussions both with Robin and with John regarding whether we should combine the public hearing, and through texting with my client, I'm being told he's not prepared to go forward with that application and wants to just move forward with the subdivision application. So we're just here to ask for a public hearing on that.
So the proposed work on the existing building, does that,
Well,
I know we've had a problem with like segmentation and others.
yeah, so typically, when we see work being done that's either in support of or ancillary to something that's in front of the planning board,
Right.
typically it gets folded in with the planning board. So that was kind of some of the discussion that we had. Dan issued a memo suggesting that the two applications be not combined, but that the public hearings be done by the planning board for that work. So my discussion with Jody and Robin went along the lines of whatever work that he's hoping to do on his property that he had submitted to the town board, that it get included in our public hearing. So in case anything goes differently, that has been addressed in terms of the notice requirements and the seeker requirements. So does that make sense?
It makes sense, but he understands that he won't be able to do the work if he doesn't include it into the application, and that's what he wants to do right now.
Understand.
So he doesn't want to hold up. There's just more work that needs to be done, and also, if the subdivision's approved, he may want to change up what he's doing on his own property, although it's separate. But he knows he would have to go before your board or the town board on a public hearing, and just right now he wants to move forward with just the subdivision.
Yeah, so I think the situation kind of has solved itself a little bit, sounds like. So we'll just
That
move
was
forward.
while texting while everything was going on.
Okay. All right, so,
Did the zoning board put any conditions on the variance?
No,
Nothing.
not that I recall.
All right, so are we ready to have a public hearing?
yeah, you can set up a public hearing, yeah.
Okay, we'll get you set up.
So that'll be on June 30th? Great, thank you very much.
Okay,
See you then.
see ya. Okay, next we have the MJM subdivision. This is a discussion of a major subdivision, locations 3,232 Gomer Street. We haven't seen you guys in a while on this.
Yeah.
It was cold in here.
Oh, it's beautiful. As soon as I felt that the humidity.
Well, actually, my house is owned by my
As
kids.
soon as that AC kicks in.
They can throw me out whenever they want.
This is the same thing we got.
First thing he does is he puts the AC on. I'm wearing like a sweater, sweatpants in my house. I go outside to warm up. I'm not even kidding. I woke up this morning, I was like shivering. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's freezing.
That'll fix it.
He's off to Mercy next, right, in the spring, fall?
Yeah. He's going to Mercy and Jack's already there.
So you'll be an empty nester for a little bit.
Yeah, but they're close enough.
Oh, yeah.
And I
But you
can
could turn the heat up.
Yeah, I can turn the heat up. Or shut the AC off.
Hello again, everybody.
Hey, Joe.
So the last time we were before the board, we were seeking direction as to the alternative that we were going to go with for this project. If you recall, we had three alternatives. We had one coming off of Gomer Street and accessing the rear of the property. We had one coming off of London and coming in through the side, then splitting in both directions. And then this alternative, which was Gomer, serving the front side of the property, and Cordial serving the back side of the property. So this plan that we have up now is essentially that plan with some modifications where we've tweaked property lines and house locations, driveway locations, and the road and whatnot. So, we've moved ahead and done the engineering studies that we've needed to do to make this a more formal submission for you to review, which includes grading, which now show the impacts. We have now gotten a formal survey and topography and trees. We've got the trees on there that are going to be taken out, and Steve is going to address that shortly. We've done testing with the DEP for all our stormwater, and we've done our stormwater design is about 75% complete. We just have to kind of wrap up the SWIP report, but the design is essentially complete. Utilities are laid out. So we're pretty far along at this point with an engineered plan. And I know we had issues to discuss regarding the access from Cordial. I know there was some thought about further studies on Cordial, which we haven't come to an agreement on what that was going to be at this point. So that's, I know, something we need to discuss. And then the other thing that we need to introduce into this is what our wetland impacts are. We have no impacts on the wetlands, but we're in buffers areas in some locations, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve now and let him go over that and how we're addressing that and addressing the tree mitigation.
Good evening, how's everyone?
Yourself.
As Joe mentioned, we've gone through some of the work with the wetlands. We've had the line confirmed by the town's consultant. And we've looked at buffer encroachments, buffer impacts. As Joe mentioned, coming in for the road from Cordial, that's that farthest right pink strip there. That's disturbance within the buffer based on, in order to accomplish the access from Cordial. The other two pink strips you see are potential rear yards for homes built at the end of the cul-de-sac on either end, just to give a little bit more backyard area to those. But that's all still conceptual until we know where the houses are exactly going. But we have provided mitigation. There's a plan for both the removal of invasive species in a number of locations within those buffers, as well as a very dense buffer enhancement planting plan for the areas between the new construction and the wetlands. Regarding the trees, over the late winter, early spring, we went out and tagged and ID'd all the trees, and then they were surveyed and put on the plan. There's a total of 432 trees on the property. Of those trees, about 100 are listed in the code as being invasive or non-native, undesirable trees. So it's down to about 300 trees total regulated on the overall property. For the road construction itself, just the two cul-de-sacs, we anticipate 49 trees coming out. Now, with the house development, again, depending on where the houses are located, there'll be more or less trees than that. Somewhere in the area of an additional 200 to 250 trees would come out for that. At this time, we have a planting plan for the wetland buffers, and we have a schematic of a planting plan for the street trees to meet the code. But other than that, we have not, once we have the final okay from you guys to go ahead and finish a landscape plan, we'll, based on this layout, we will go ahead and do that. And then we'll go through the process of figuring out how many more trees we can get on the site, and what other kind of tree mitigation might be applicable to the property. It's the eastern part of the property there on the right-hand side of the plan is the part that would be considered a woodland under the town's code. The western part is the existing home and developed area, number of outbuildings and a home and mowed lawn area, so that doesn't meet the woodland criteria, but everything east of that central wetland would be considered a woodland under the town code. So as we put together our final landscape plan and our mitigation plan in accordance with the code, we'll have more information for you on additional plantings and trees that we can get on the site and what else we might be able to do in that regard. But again, we're anticipating somewhere around 300 trees, 300 regulated trees on the property, and about 200 of those regulated trees would be removed as part of the development.
So, just something we want to throw out, and it's something I think the board should consider moving forward on any project of this type, is breaking out the tree mitigation in two areas. One being the main infrastructure or putting in the roads, whatnot, and then the individual lots. And I think the individual lots should be based on filing for, as they file for a building permit, they would file for their tree permit. Because we're looking at something theoretical, right? We're showing kick me out? We're showing theoretical house sites and driveway locations. We're not showing pools, we're not showing decks, we're not showing patios. That's gonna be more real when the individual site plans come in. So it doesn't make sense, in my mind, to consider that now. Of course, the road, yes, that has to be done now. But to offer mitigation of any type for what we don't know, I think that's something that should be considered, like I said, at the time of building permit.
So they'll come back to this board for the tree permit?
Well, or this board or the town board, whichever board, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
When I worked for Nordcastle, we had I forget if they called it pre and final site plan approval. So that you'd come for the subdivision, and then each lot would come back.
Well, your board has done that
Yeah,
here.
we
so-
did that, where was that development?
Yeah.
On the Somers line.
For Santucci's project?
Yes, Santucci's
Yeah.
property. There was particular identified lots that needed to come back, some didn't.
Because we had height issues, anything with the grade change.
Right. So
Right, that's pretty
Limited-
that's pretty
limited
standard.
and
You still
final.
do that. If it's more than a 2-foot grade change, it requires coming back. Yeah, I mean, that's already built in to what you do.
And some of the lots will be coming back also as part of the wetlands process. Some of them may have some buffer encroachment in the rear yards that isn't really looked at in terms of the road. Oh, sorry. You're on TV anymore. Some of the lots, 5 or 6 of them, I think, would be coming back for wetland permits anyway, because rear yards potentially could have encroachments into the buffer as well, so they'd be coming to anyway. So this would just add a few more of those lots in terms of what trees would be coming down.
Right, so my question is, how is the mitigation, do you see it being handled? Individually?
I think the mitigation for the development of individual lots would be handled individually. We can certainly, between the areas that are disturbed for the road construction, stormwater management, et cetera, utilities, we have I think 49 trees right now we've identified as having to come out for that part of the project, and we would certainly propose that up front as to what the mitigation for that would be.
So is the intent of the developer to do the infrastructure improvements, build the road out, not do the final pavement, and sell the lots individually?
No, he's planning on building. That's
He
his profession. He's a builder.
Okay.
So he's planning on building. I'm just thinking about, so let's say the mitigation was a straight dollar contribution. So he'd be putting a dollar contribution out there for something that might not get built for another 5 years or another 6 years, depending on the economy. So that doesn't make any sense. Or even, as I said before, we're saying, if we say now, based on what we have laid out, trees X, Y, and Z are going to come out, but actually it's going to be other trees that might come out because, like I said, you might put a pool in, you might put in, different house, move the house forward, move the house back.
The lot might not
Whatever.
even sell.
Yeah, true. And the other thing is it's generally smaller trees on this property. Most of the trees are 12 inches or less. there are 20 or 30 larger trees on the property. Potential buyers may want to preserve a tree on a certain property that they don't know now until they actually have a layout for each individual lot.
I understand that, I agree, but I keep wondering how the board can reasonably approve the project without really assessing the impact and having an understanding of what the mitigation should be at the time of approval. And so I don't, it seems to me to be incorrect to be blind to that and do it in a piecemeal fashion.
Well, I think we,
So-
I mean, go ahead, John, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. So to me, it sounds as though you need to do a general mitigation plan, have a good sense of what your numbers are to make sure that they can go along with what your proposed mitigation is in terms of approving this entire subdivision.
Well, we have gone through the first part of that.
Yeah.
We know how many trees are coming out just for the infrastructure, and then we also have a general idea of how many trees will come out if the lots are developed the way they're currently laid out. So we do have those numbers, and we can somehow put together some kind of an estimate ballpark as to what the final numbers will be. And I think what Joe's saying, that we don't know what the final numbers will be until each individual lot is developed.
Okay, and so where are you headed with tree mitigation right now, just broadly?
Right now, we're at about 1-to-1 for tree mitigation associated with the trees that are being removed for the infrastructure. We get to a point, and we've run into this on other projects before, we get to a point where there's no room on this property to plant another 300 or 400 trees. So it'll be some combination of landscape trees, screening trees, and some kind of a contribution, as we've done before.
Okay.
I gotta be honest, I kinda like the idea. I'm just speaking to a subdivision now that's taking place where I currently work. And I think if we had something like this, it might have tightened up the process. Right, and I think we've said it here before, each lot is like a fingerprint, they're all different. But I agree with John 100%, we have to have a basic understanding of what that's gonna be. And I think we do a limited and then final, for the lots, because I know there was a lot of residents that came out opposed to subdivision. I'm sure a few of them are here today, and I'm sure they're gonna wanna see, again, the devil in the details, if and when this proceeds forward. So we still have the public hearings, there's still work to do here. But I agree with John, we have to make sure this works in concept. But I really do kind of in favor of the limited and the final, because you do get again, these are just blocks that are put on a piece of paper to show the breakdown of the lots and the subdivision. But, you sell it to X, Y, and Z, and they're gonna wanna change things up. And you're gonna have people that want pools and such, and that may be something we should dig into deeper as we get these. Because again, some of these lots might be more sensitive than others. And I do think it gives us the ability to do a deeper dive.
Absolutely.
Into that. So, I think there's still some work we gotta see here. There's definitely some details we gotta work through. I saw Dan, but he ghosted us. But,
And the other alternative is, like do in other towns, show conceptual pools, show a conceptual limited disturbance. And if it exceeds that at the time of building permit, then they come back.
Well, it may, yeah.
Right?
but then if your stormwater is designed for a certain location, and they wanna put the pool over that, there's no HOA or anything here, right?
No.
There's no services that are gonna be
No.
between neighbors?
It comes back to me, this is all conceptual. Suppose 3 or 4 of these lots don't sell.
Yeah, no sense in
And
stripping
now these numbers are.
Absolutely.
Someone might wanna buy 2 lots,
Yeah.
and put the house in the middle.
Yeah.
Right, if something changes after the fact and
Right.
it's more impactful, then it has to come back, period.
Yeah.
Even if you were silent, it should come back.
Right.
Well, we could continue talking about that and just, just an idea, just throwing it out there.
He came back. He must have heard us. I'm telling you, he's downstairs watching it.
Joe, Didn't we have a problem with the Cordial Road? Wasn't it not wide enough?
We still have to talk
Well,
about that.
That's something that we need to finish talking about.
Oh, that's right.
So-
They had to take
so-
a piece from that property.
So Cordial Road is in this, you figure you can come through on this plan that you show us,
That's right, we're coming in off of Cordial.
Cordial Road.
Right.
Was there, and I know the labor, the lot as you leave to the right, I think there was some back and forth. Has that been resolved? Because it does show the
Yeah, no,
right of way onto that property.
Yeah, no, I have to look at that. If it was, it was not resolved, no. So if it's still on, if that line is still
Yeah,
on there,
it's
that's.
still on there.
Yeah, that has to come off.
All right, so, and it's on both the neighboring properties, so that's something we still gotta work out. They gotta work
Well,
out.
they gotta work it out.
But,
Well, yeah, we don't have to work that out because you have an opinion from your planning board attorney at the time that we had enough width there.
I think we should reach out to Superintendent Paganelli. I know he had some concerns about the road too, but I think,
About the width of the road?
yeah, and the existing.
Not our road, but.
No, the
Cordial.
existing, right.
Yeah.
I know that was some of the concerns we heard from residents as they came in.
For sure.
And the site distance and other things that I think, was there any
We'll do whatever needs to be done, but we never really,
dug into the
there was
weeds?
a lot of just
Yeah,
talk about it, but we weren't directed there.
all right, so,
So basically, you received your clustering authorization, and you came back to us, I think, once, right? So we're really kind of starting to dig into the details, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Basically, that's
yeah,
where, it's-
exactly.
okay.
I mean, I think the left side is a lot cleaner than the right side.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna explore the limited and final site plan. We gotta see how that would work out. And I'm sure we're gonna have to work with the legals to. And then the roadway connection, we're gonna have to talk about, on both sides. And the width of that road, even if a portion of that road has to be widened for egress onto that, into this part of the subdivision. It might be worthwhile to get Dan, Dave, and the planning department in the same room at once. Sit down, I could certainly make myself available, just to kind of hash out those details. And on your end, I think, you'd have to go lot by lot as we went through. Any other thoughts? Anything from the board?
None.
John?
Nothing at this moment.
Counselor?
Nothing here. I'll run it past Dave and see if they have any ideas on the short-term, long-term site plan.
Okay. I mean, it seems to make sense. All right?
All righty, thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes this meeting. Do I have a motion to close?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dave Klaus came back. He wants to submit his application for the board.
He's ready to go.
John Tegeter got your text.
Good night.
Good night, Tom.